Live from the Infinity Centre in the nation's capital, it's the Royals' 17th Annual Inspiration Awards. Tonight, we celebrate the men and women who have made a profound difference in the mental health arena. Tonight you will meet award winners, mental health advocates, and community leaders changing the face of mental illness. Welcome to the Inspiration Awards.
I'm transgender. I was born female. I was assigned female at birth, but I identify as male.
Bipolar disorder, I mean, you have episodes that are can be very depressive, and then you can have real highs.
I was always a regular kid, but then at 12 I just started getting really out of control with anxiety attacks and things like that.
I know for me, when I was in graduate school, and even before then, I was having struggles with anxiety.
He flat out just said she's had a nervous breakdown and she has depression.
I'm bullied since my whole life, from kindergarten to grade 11, grade 12.
I was in jail. I got served divorce papers in jail. My oldest daughter had my first grandchild while I was in jail.
All I could think to myself was I'd be so much better for everybody if I was gone.
And you can see people from across the hall looking at you going, oh, what's wrong with that one?
It's been really rewarding to be conducting research that you know is going to potentially have an impact.
I'm a skater and I'm an Olympian, but I'm a survivor.
We've got a lot of great conversations for you, so let's get right to it. We are fortunate to have some really special guests with us this evening, but I don't believe there's anyone quite as special as this woman right here. Ladies and gentlemen, Margaret Trudeau. It's so great to see you. So great to see you. And how are you this evening?
I could not be happier to be here.
I'm so glad. You know what? I'm doing okay as well. I used to be doing a lot better. No, that's okay. But I used to do a lot better because for a long time, I was sort of killing it in the broadcast game. And people go, look at that, there's a son of a prime minister doing really, really well. And then this other kid came along and moved the goalposts.
Yes, but I think you're having way, way more fun than Justin is. In every way, yeah. No.
Margaret,
Brothers in arms.
Brothers in arms. It's such a pleasure to see you.
Thank you.
And it's always, to see what you carry with you every day and helping move the conversation for mental health forward. Why is it important for you to be here each and every year?
I was one of those people suffering from a serious mental illness, bipolar, untreated, although I kind of accepted a bit of treatment here and there so my family would leave me alone. But I had the biggest problem that we all do when we have a mental illness is denial and not able to put our trust into someone else to help us. Because when you're bipolar, your mind is pretty wild and you don't think anybody could ever make sense. Or did you want to be normal? I finally took it too far after a tragedy in our family and ended up at the Royal Ottawa Hospital. A screaming banshee when I arrived, and a woman who was starting to have control of her life and had the beginnings of hope and was ready to face the battle. It would take 5 years of getting my mental health back. So the Royal Ottawa changed the trajectory. And you know what, Ben? You know this. It wasn't just me that the Royal Ottawa changed the trajectory of. It was my family as well, because it's not just the one person who is struggling with a mental health issue. It's the family, it's the community, it's the workplace. So we are doing a lot to change that.
You are, the community is, the Royal is. But I do want to say, one of the things that we talk about on my morning show a lot is this idea of representation on television.
I watch it every day.
Well, thank you very much. And one of the lines that people say about representation on television is, you can't be what you can't see. And I think that also holds true in a situation like this as well. People who are struggling with their mental health, with those struggles, they can't know that there is another side of it until they hear the stories of those who have struggled and come through it.
That's why I say about I'm a mental health advocate. That's my title. That's what I'm so proud to be. And I say to everybody who has fought the battle to get their mental health back, who has turned over permission for people to help them. And you know what? You can't fix yourself. I tried. You can't. But I also have this strong feeling that we're all in it together, Ben. We can't do it without every level. And yay, Canada. Yay, Canada.
Margaret Trudeau, thank you very much. Thank you so much. Margaret Trudeau, ladies and gentlemen. Now, over to you, Megan.
Ben. Thanks, Ben. I'm here now with Mitchell Bellman. He's the president and CEO of the Royal Foundation. Hi, Mitchell.
Great to be here with you, Megan.
Mitchell, can you take us through right away why this room, you think, is filled with so many people here to support?
We are so touched that we have so many great corporate sponsors for the cause of mental health in the Royal. We have over 550 people in the room tonight. We sold over 70 tables. It's a sellout crowd again. And at the Royal, we are so touched at the people who believe in our cause and support us, and we can't thank them enough.
Is there anyone in particular that you wanted to highlight in this room? Who's here tonight?
We have so many special people here tonight. First of all, we have 6 incredible award winners who are doing so much to transform mental illness. We have 2 Youth Video Award winners. We have Ontario's Minister for Long-Term Care, Marilee Fullerton, MPP for Kanata Carleton. We have, yes, absolutely. We have Canada's Chief of Defence Staff, General Jonathan Vance. We have 2 Grey Cup champion players, Brad Sinopoli and Alex Mateus. And we have what many people call Ottawa Senator's greatest captain, but what we call the greatest ambassador for the Royal in the cause of mental health, Daniel Alfredsson.
And I know that we will hear from many of those people coming up throughout the evening, but if you could maybe just talk to us a little bit about the Royal and how we can continue to keep that conversation going. And, it seems like, as Ben said, you can't always see it. So it seems like such a big battle, but what do we have to do? Why are we here tonight?
We're here tonight to raise money for mental health care and research. We have a very bold plan at the Royal. Our CEO, Joanne Bazubitz, states that we want to create a hospital without walls. And that means we want to push mental health care out of the bounds of our hospital into the community, to work with partners to bring mental health care closer to where people are, and we can get them better faster. And that also reserves the precious place in the hospital for those that need more severe care. So together our goal is to try to get more people better faster, and that's what we're going to do. We can't wait to present that vision to the community.
And I speak for everyone in this room when we say we're honored to be a part of that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Megan.
Thanks, Megan. Ladies and gentlemen, 2020 marks TD's 7th year as the Royals Inspiration Awards presenting sponsor, a tremendous demonstration of their commitment to the mental health cause. And joining me on stage is Tara Lynn Hughes, Senior VP of TD Canada Trust. How about a round of applause?
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. It's great to be here.
Tara, why is mental health so important to TD?
Yes, so as you said, we've been so proud to be the sponsor of this great event for 7 years. I think TD recognizes, like all of you do, that's why you're here tonight, we recognize the incredible work that the Royal does in our community, and I think we share a lot of the same values. It's about bringing the conversation to the forefront. It's about open, honest, respectful dialogue that's going to help the road to recovery for so many people, and frankly just make our communities that much stronger. And we had an event actually recently at the bank, and we had all of our branch managers together, and we had a mental health panel as part of the agenda. And it was the single most popular, not that finance and bar graphs I'm sure aren't popular, but it was the single most talked about part of our agenda, and so many people basically said that had such a deep impact on me. How are we continuing the conversation?
Yeah,
That's what it's all about.
Well, because so many people suffer in silence, and they also don't know that it is okay to come and start that conversation. So when an organization as big as TD says, we are going to do this, there's safety in those numbers, isn't there?
Yeah, and I think, you know, you can't sit on the sideline. You can't be passive and say, oh yes, I'm supportive of trying to advance the agenda here and not be visible, not do something about it. And so I just think it's so fantastic. A huge thank you to all of you for being here tonight, for not sitting on the sidelines, for coming out. And I do just want to say a huge thank you to Mitchell and the whole team at the Royal. Such a great partnership, and we're thrilled to work with them. We're always thrilled. I was out with my family selling Christmas trees at the annual Christmas tree event, and it was great fun, except for when we locked ourselves out of the little cabin where all the money was. Not so good.
But you're a banker.
I know, it's okay. My son climbed through a window. We broke it back in.
Whatever it takes,
Yeah,
Tara.
whatever it takes.
Whatever
We got those trees sold. And you know what? There were so many people who came up, and every single person, they had a story they wanted to share. Yeah. They were there for a very meaningful reason. And you know what? I don't know if the tree was $40, people gave us 80.
Oh,
you know, great. It was a wonderful thing to do.
Well, Tara, to you and to everyone at TD, this entire room says thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you
All
so
the best.
much.
Have a wonderful night.
Have a great evening, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Now it's back over to you, Megan.
Thanks, Ben. So I'm sure by now many of you have had the chance to check out the silent auction, and that is sponsored by Tech Insights. And it just so happens that I have Gavin Carter here from Tech Insights. So Gavin, can you first take us through why did you want to be a part of this? Why was it important to step out as a sponsor?
Yeah, sure. I'm very proud of the work that Tech Insights has done over the last 2 years to raise awareness within our company of mental health and to try and remove some of that stigma. I've seen the company really be a leader internally, and it dawned on me that we should be able to take that outside of just the boundaries of our company. So I was fortunate enough to be introduced to Jamie, who took me and my wife on a tour of the Royal Hospital late last year. We planned, I think, half an hour, and we were there over 2 hours. Just incredibly moved and inspired by the work that they're doing at the Royal, and it was a pretty easy decision when Jamie asked whether we wanted to be involved to get involved tonight.
I love to hear those kinds of stories. Now I know everyone is always curious about those prizes, so maybe highlight just your favorite one or some that you think people will be really excited about.
Yeah, well, there's some great prizes. I'm a sports fan, and in the last 2 years I've become a Sens fan, so the Elfie stick is hopefully what I'm winning on at the moment, so we'll keep bidding that one up. And the spa for my wife, some of the spa ones, they are really good.
Perfect. So a reminder to everybody that the silent auction is going to close tonight at 9:15. The winning bidder for an item, you're going to get a notification. And if you have not done so by putting in your credit card online, you will be sent a secure link to do that. And so that's an easy way for you to get your prizes. And then all you have to do is show that receipt, go home with a prize. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Megan. Ladies and gentlemen, I got 3 kids at home. I have no problem shushing a room. Shh, shh. There we go. It's effective. It's effective. Large crowds and little kids. Over the past few years, the Royal has been fortunate that many youth in Ottawa have taken a stand in support of mental health awareness. And through the Royal's youth video contest, many young people have lent their voices to reduce the stigma of mental illness in our community. So joining me now is Louise Bradley, the President and CEO of Mental Health Commission of Canada, and our French Youth Video Contest winner, Geneviève Fleury-Chateau. Please come on up, guys. Louise, here, I'll give you this for a moment. Why don't you tell us what does the Mental Health Commission of Canada do, and why does it continue to support this contest?
Well, we are big fans of the Royal Ottawa because of all the fantastic work and the research that they do. And every year we try to sponsor the youth video because youth are at the heart of everything we do. And everybody who tells us that they've had a problem as an adult tells us that it began in their youth. So it's really important to focus on that.
Et Geneviève, félicitations, congratulations to you. Tell us what inspired you to make this video?
Well, it was part of my curriculum for last year's video, and it's very important to me. Just even though it was part of my school. And this year I decided to re-enter, regardless of whether I needed to for school or not, just because mental health is such an important topic to me.
I tell you, when I was in 12th grade, I wish I had the passion and the talent that you have. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could direct your eyes to the screens, and we are going to see the award-winning video.
La vie de tous les jours a souvent tendance à nous écraser. Le travail, l'école, les relations. Tout nous ralentit et nous amoindrit. Au lieu d'avancer, nous pouvons perdre le pas. Même avoir l'impression de marcher à reculons. Mais, au moment même où nous avons l'impression de tomber par derrière, il ne faut qu'une personne pour nous demander « Est-ce que ça va ?»
And joining me now on stage, representing the Canadian Medical Association, is Dr. Melanie Bouchard and our English Youth Video Contest winner, Ben Wills. Ben, great to talk to you. Doctor, how are you? Nice to meet you. Why, Doctor, is the topic of mental health so important to the CMA?
Well, the CMA has decided that access to care will be our main priority in the coming years. And right now, we know that there's 1.2 million children and adolescents with mental health conditions in Canada, and only 1 in 5 can access the treatments that they need. It's something that, unfortunately, I see every day working in the CHEO emergency department, and it's wonderful to see this outpouring of support to get patients with the care that they can benefit from.
That's wonderful news. And Ben, congratulations to you. I've got to ask, is your passion mental health? Is it film? Is it both?
Honestly, it very much is both for me. I've been doing film for the past 11 years, as well as been dealing with anxiety to a mild degree for a long time as well. So the ability to work with a great team of people to merge the two and then present this final product has been special.
And I've got 11 years. How old are you?
I am 20, almost 21.
So you've been doing this since you were 10?
That's right.
Wow. Do you think that in a few years we might see you on the Oscar red carpet?
That's certainly something I'm not opposed to, but hopefully surrounded by another great group of people. You know, we had a great group of people working on this video, from my friend Kim, who played the heck out of the ukulele, to a random woman we found on Fiverr to sing the vocals of the song I wrote. I'd be happy to take those people with me to the red carpet.
He's got his acceptance speeches ready already. This is impressive, Ben. Congratulations to you. Please, ladies and gentlemen, take a look at the screens and we'll see another award-winning video.
Hey, I'll be back later. I left your breakfast on the counter. Love you.
It's one of those days. Call me lazy, that's alright. We'll be better, you say. And who am I to change your mind? Just need somebody to say.
Are you okay?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Know the signs.
I never thought I would have to say this, but you are all listening so well that I noticed some of you are not enjoying your salad, so I do invite you to do so. Not to call out my friend here, but for everyone in the room. Now, as I mentioned, tonight we are going to pay tribute to some very exceptional individuals, and they really are leaders in the mental health community. So this evening you are going to meet 6 amazing people who are award recipients, and they really are making a difference in our community. So this is one of my favorite parts because we're going to hear from them now.
My name's Azel. I'm 16. I was born at the Queensway Carleton. I've lived in Ottawa my whole life. I'm transgender. I was born female. I was assigned female at birth, but I identify as male, which makes me a trans guy. I've For about as long as I can remember, which would be, I don't know, starting in like 3rd grade, I've just never felt comfortable identifying as female or doing like stereotypically female per se things.
Coming out to his family was also difficult at times.
My mother, she tries, I know she tries, but she doesn't understand it. The first member of my family that I came out to was my father. I was a little worried that he wouldn't be fully accepting, but he was fantastic.
Despite the support of family, Azel faced criticism from classmates and teachers.
It sucked. I hate it. It's awful when you're just trying to mind your own business and you can see people from across the hall looking at you going, oh, what's wrong with that one, kind of thing. Because of my experience with the negative aspects of the community and the discrimination and the harassment that comes with just simply existing as outside of the norm, I wanted to do something about it. I did a school board-wide research project on the environment and the atmosphere around LGBT students and staff to try and identify specific problems and specific ways that the students think those problems should be addressed.
After presenting his findings to the school principal, social workers committee, and executive board, Azel's work is now mandatory reading for teachers. In addition, the school is now looking into addressing bathroom problems and furthering LGBTQ2+ education for teachers.
What you have now is the greater community acknowledging that, you are right and this is an issue, and I feel like that's huge. Partly for me later in life, but also partly to go back to where this all started and poke my school board a little bit more and say, hey look, I have an award now, I'm not wrong.
Please congratulate Azel Gallinger, Leader for Mental Health in the Youth category.
Growing up, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I started, playing piano very young and took vocal training for about 8 years and played the tuba and the saxophone. So everyone thought that was the direction I was going in. And I think at some point I had to make a decision whether I felt that music was the right direction or whether I was going to pursue science.
After completing university, Robin realized she was no longer passionate about her chemistry degree. She took a year off and fell in love with a new area of science.
I have quite a bit of mental illness in my family, and so I really started to become more interested in understanding about depression, and that's how it kind of all started. And so I applied to the ERIM program, the Emerging Research Innovators in Mental Health, not thinking that this would happen for me. And when it did, it completely changed my life and my career trajectory.
Although she's worked on countless projects, Robin says her favorite and proudest is within Indigenous mental health.
The work that I'm most proud of is probably the work that I'm doing on Indigenous mental health with some incredible Indigenous partners, and really it's the work that we're doing has had impact in policy in Canada.
Robin has also shared her findings with members of the judiciary system.
It's been really rewarding to be conducting research that is going to potentially have an impact. Some of the work that we've more recently done has kept programs open that were needed to be open, but the government thought that perhaps they weren't needed anymore until we were able to show some data suggesting that there's still a need. So this has been incredibly rewarding to know that I'm not doing this work for myself, I'm doing this work so that it can actually potentially change lives down the road. The Inspiration Award is a real honor, especially because I feel like I didn't get here alone. I really owe a lot of any success I've had in the past to my family, but also to these amazing mentors that really took me and built me up my entire graduate career. And so I feel honored, but I feel like it's not just mine. It's an award that I owe to many people who've helped me along the way, and there have been many.
Please congratulate Dr. Robin McQuaid, Leader for Mental Health in the Young Researcher category.
My name is Ben Lakin. I'm from Ottawa, born and raised.
At an early age, Ben couldn't understand why his friend, who was suffering from a mental illness, wasn't getting the same level of love and support as a family member who had cancer.
So I think even in my early teens, I couldn't wrap my head around it, and I couldn't figure out, but aren't these both health topics? Aren't they both, health issues? Isn't the brain an organ of the body like other organs?
Left confused and wondering why people weren't talking about mental illness, Ben began volunteering and involving himself in mental health initiatives.
We know that there's no better way to sort of combat stigma than by having that one-on-one experience with someone with lived experience. Really seeing the impact that you can have with a young person, but anybody really, when you get that opportunity to talk to them and break down some of those walls. Regardless of our life circumstances, regardless of who we are, what income we have or don't have, we're all in this together in that we all might one day struggle.
In addition to developing the first mental health strategy for the City of Ottawa, Ben is also responsible for making Ottawa the first municipality in Canada and the largest in the world to offer suicide prevention training to all 17,000 city staff.
From my days working at the Children's Hospital and seeing young people really struggle and losing members of our youth groups to suicide early on, but more than anything, I've seen hope and I've seen recovery. And so for me, what we need to keep doing is we need to keep making noise, keep raising awareness, keep raising money. It's a big thing with my children, with kids today, is having those conversations really early and helping kids understand that it's totally okay to ask for help. In fact, it's courageous.
Please congratulate Ben Lakin, Leader for Mental Health in the Community category.
How about, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for the Infinity Convention Center, for this incredible food, the incredible service we've been enjoying all night long. I met some incredible people here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna need your attention for a moment here, because I'm gonna drop some knowledge on you. Drop a couple of truth bombs on you. I'm gonna get raw with you here. So I had some wonderful people at my table. I met Alanis Morissette's mom. And my truth that I'm going to share with you is that I had such a crush on Alanis growing up. Not Alanis Morissette, I'm talking old school Alanis. Do people here remember, always too hot, never too cold. You think your best shot too hot to hold. I mean, like that video with the smoke machine and the hoop earrings and the big hair. And then she came over to our house because we had a cool house. And I was like, this is it. Like, life begins tonight. And then she went out drinking with my sister, and that was it. I was like, well, Like my sister won't never let me date her friends, and then Jagged Little Pill came out, and I thought, just too much work. Lovely to see you. All my best to the family. All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me now on stage is someone I believe you all know and love. Number 11 on the ice, but number 1 in your hearts, Daniel Alfredsson. Dan, great to see you.
Thanks, Ben.
So, you know, full disclosure, I am a Habs fan, but I think we can all agree that the Leafs.
Yeah, we don't have any problem in saying the Leafs sucks in this room.
Daniel, what are you doing post hockey? What's life like?
After I retired, it's about 5 years. It goes fast. Been taking it pretty easy for a while, playing a lot of tennis. Now I'm starting to kind of get involved again. I don't know if a lot of people know, I'm part owner in a sports physio clinic here in town in Canada, and we're working on expanding. And the idea is to do sports physio, rehab, and mental health together in the same clinic. So that's what we're working on. I'd like to normalize treatment, and we're hoping we can have something going here this year.
And mental health, sports, there is a real conversation that needs to be happening there. Is that one of the reasons that you support the Royal?
Well, the reason I started was because my own family struggled. My sister struggled with general anxiety disorder, and you know how I struggled with supporting her living in Canada, she in Sweden, and a mutual friend of mine went through his struggles with friends, and we talked, you know, how can I use my status in the town to help out, and what can I do, and the Royal had already started their campaign, You Know Who I Am, and it seemed like a perfect fit for me to jump in, and you know, felt great from the beginning to support something that a lot of people didn't at the time.
Well, to have someone like you who means so much to this community, to give back to an institution that helps this community is a tremendous thing. Daniel, great to talk to you tonight.
Thanks,
round of applause for Daniel Alfredsson. All right, now it's over to Megan.
Thank you. Thanks, Ben. We're going to come on over here. Okay, here with me now is Gord Cudney. He is the board chair of the Royal Ottawa Foundation for Mental Health. Thank you for coming.
How are you doing?
Can we hear him?
We got a hot mic? We're good? Okay.
Perfect. So you know what? So many people in this room, but I know that an event like this, it's not easy to put together. So important, we know. But how did this come together?
Well, it was a lot of work, a lot of sleepless nights for me. It was, it's been a whole year of me working on this room. So, no, in all seriousness, our committee is, I think, the best I've ever worked with. Jane runs an incredible group of people. We come to our meetings every month. They say everything's going tickety-boo. I'm sure they're working their butts off to get this room to look the way it does. As it's incredibly full tonight, and I'm sure tons of money's coming off that auction. So to Jane and her team, I think we need to stand up and say, unbelievable job, raise a glass to our Gala committee. Thanks, Jane.
Now, obviously, you're here because you're passionate about supporting mental health in our community, but we all know in this room that there's still a stigma associated. So what do we do now? Where do we go from here?
I think that's kind of off script, so I'm a little nervous here. Frankly, I think like the original question I think is about what I've done. I've been really practicing my answers.
Who's the reporter?
So what I was going to say was I've always had an open door policy to basically anyone, and I frankly, like the proverbial open door policy, I think has been created in Ottawa generally. People, I think, feel a lot more comfortable thanks for people like Daniel and Margaret who have made it kind of normalized walking into an office and saying, I'm not having a great day. Or, you know, walking to a neighbor's house, I'm not having a great day. And I think just having that open, honest connection with people has taken us a huge distance. I personally think there's another step for us to take, and in Ottawa, and I think that is just that empathy and that ability to not wait for someone to come through your open door, but to actually recognize when you look at Mitchell, you look at Margaret, you look at Matt, you say, something's not quite right here, and actually just to ask. You know, I've seen it, I saw it, I think last week I said, there's something off. And in my profession, you may think we're always off, lawyers, but there is definitely something, you know, amiss. And just, I think, taking the next step to just ask is a place where we've come on the continuum, and I think Ottawa has gone a long way, and we've been leaders, we continue to be leaders, and thanks to all of you, I think in the future, we can continue to lead and be the best there is on this. So thanks so much, everyone.
And one important thing Gord just said there is just to ask your neighbor, and obviously my colleague is sitting up here, Matt Scooby. I call him my brother, I call him my best friend. He's the first person to know if something's wrong and to ask me, and it goes so far. And you know, and just in honor of Gord sharing, something I've really never shared publicly is that I have very close loved ones who struggle with mental health and addiction. So when I was asked to do this event, I don't even think I told Matt. It really touched my heart. So I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very happy that you're all here. And on that note, let's get to some more awards.
Meet Glenda O'Hara, who despite her mental health challenges continues to be a champion.
Bipolar disorder, I mean, you have episodes that are can be very depressive, really lows, and then you can have real highs or mania. I have compulsive spending, and because of the nature of the business I was in, accounting, it led to me making poor decisions and you know, getting involved with the criminal justice system because of it.
Glenda hid the fact that she stole from her employers. After Glenda was fired, she reached out to her family physician and explained the situation. She eventually received a diagnosis of bipolar disorder, severe depression, social anxiety, and ADHD. However, as Glenda went from organization to organization, the poor decisions followed her.
It was probably the worst episode of defrauding my employer, and they were the one that filed charges.
After over a year in prison, Glenda returned to Ottawa with a plan.
Get a referral to the Royal and get better, and you know, this isn't going to happen to me, and I'm going to have some hope in my life, and that's exactly what I did.
Nowadays, Glenda volunteers with the Royal. Not only is she a peer support worker in the Women's Centre in Royal Ottawa Place, but she is chair of the Client Advisory Council.
The Royal, you walk in the door, and there's just an immediate feeling of comfort because you can really be yourself. You don't have to hide any part of who you are, and it's just, you know, a hopeful place. It's where I got my hope.
Despite her past, Glenda continuously shares her story to help end stigma.
There's hope, and if you don't feel hope for yourself, find someone that supports you that can hold your hope for you.
Please congratulate Glenda O'Hara, Leader for Mental Health in the personal category.
Born in British Columbia, Chelsea Rose Meldrum grew up with two brothers. When Chelsea was 7, her family moved to Ottawa.
It was hard at first, I find, because like I'm just adjusting to a new province and I have no friends, got like nothing to do. And then eventually I went to one grade school, but then we moved, so I had to go to another grade school. That's where I made a few friends. I was always a regular kid, but then at 12 I just started getting like really out of control with like anxiety attacks and things like that.
Then she started hearing voices.
They're all year round, like they never go away. There's one male, one female, and another female that sounds like exactly like my mom, but nothing she'd say. They're all negative, they're all rude and mean.
Chelsea and her mom spoke to doctors about her symptoms. She received a diagnosis of depression, antisocial behavior with paranoid features, schizophrenia, and borderline personality disorder.
I was just like, at least I know what's going on, but I don't really want it.
Chelsea's mental health advocating began with being part of the Schizophrenia Society of Ontario's Youth Advisory Council. Then, volunteering with Partners for Mental Health, CMHA, and at the Royal, where she speaks to youth during the Is It Just Me program.
Yeah, every time I do it at the Royal, everyone comes forward, like at least 5 or 6 kids to come forward. And I'm like, oh, you're so inspiration, you know, and you're like, I can't believe you can do this.
Through it all, Chelsea has learned various coping techniques. She really enjoys art therapy.
It just takes everything off my mind, really. Like I used to self-harm, and now I find this is way better than that. It's like, it's not hurting yourself anymore, and it's easier to just get focused and stay focused and just keep on track without, because I got voices all the time, so it's easier to do that and play some music to help it out.
Now, in addition to the medals and scholarships, Chelsea will be adding an Inspiration Award to the list.
I'm like in honor of it. Like, I was still in a shock of receiving the award. Because like, I know I do a lot of good in the mental health field, but I didn't think I'd actually be nominated to do it. I don't know, I'm still really in like shock and happy and everything.
Please congratulate Chelsea Rose Meldrum, Leader for Mental Health in the Personal category.
I had to put myself first. I was so used to trying to please everybody and to do a good job and to do this that I lost myself. I suffered in silence for so long that my body just broke down. I won't suffer in silence anymore. I'm a skater and I'm an Olympian, but I'm a survivor. And I want people to understand that you can survive. Sorry, I get all emotional when I think about this, but it's like we've come a long way, but there's so much more work we can do. And it's like, my life is this. It's not easy to go through, you know, any kind of mental health. And I want people to know that I'm in their corner 100%. And I've been there, I've done it, and I still suffer. But it's okay. And I want others to know that they're going to be okay.
Please congratulate Liz Manley, Leader for Mental Health in the Transformational category.
How about another round of applause for Liz Manley? Can we chat for a few minutes? You okay? What are those tears of?
It's just an emotional night.
It's something that I've been so passionate about being open about, and after the Olympics, I was quite open about it, and it was all brushed under the carpet. People didn't want, sorry, I don't mean to cry, it's just such an honor. People didn't want to put Canada's sweetheart on the same line as mental health. They weren't ready for it. And the tears are that I am so blessed to be in a time in my life where I can now speak out about it, and everybody is still sitting. No one's run out of the room.
Yeah.
You know?
When you look at a younger generation of young athletes, of figure skaters coming up, and you see the resources available to them where they can be peak performers physically, but also take care of themselves mentally, how does that make you feel?
I'm really elated to see how the sport federations in Canada have made this a priority. And I think that's why Canada owns the podium today. I really believe that.
Well, you know, for a brief moment in 1988, we didn't have a whole lot to hang our hats on in Calgary, but we did have you. Oh boy, did we have you. And you and I go way back.
Oh, we go way back.
I think we got a picture.
Oh, you found out about it. Look.
There it is. Yeah.
I thought that was going to be a surprise
That's
for you
awesome.
tonight.
That is awesome. I think I still have that shirt. But that was, because
you haven't changed.
as I was, pardon me?
You haven't changed.
Well, I exfoliate this. I have an oily T-zone, and I take care of that. And a good cleanser and serum. Liz, no, that was a heck of a thing in '88 because the Americans and the Russians and the Eastern Bloc, they could crowd everything else out, and then you came as this wonderful surprise for so many of us. Take me back. How did you become a figure skater?
Oh.
Yeah, all the way back.
Actually, that is one of the biggest questions I get is how did I become a figure skater? And I was the 3-year-old in a pink snowsuit that was dragged from rink to rink to watch my brothers play hockey every weekend. And I learned this great trick because I was in the rink all day. I learned to teach myself how to cry. So I noticed that there was multiple parents coming in all day while my brothers were playing hockey. So I came up with this trick where I'd go up to them and I'd pull on their coats. I wasn't much shorter than I am now. And I'd pull on their coats and I would cry and I'd go, I can't find my mommy and daddy. Do you have 50 cents for a hot chocolate? And it turned out one night, in those days, you could turn a kid upside down and shake him. My father did that, and about $26 in quarters came out of my snowsuit. So the best thing to do with me was to throw me into figure skating lessons, which were on the other ice. And in other words, I was put into an elite babysitting service.
I think one of the things that I read about you as it relates to your mental health is, and it's something that I didn't know too much about, was how there can be real physical manifestations of mental illness. And you had a real demonstration of that in Lake Placid in '83.
So a lot of things happened in my life. I was very young, competing at a very elite level of skating. And my coach suddenly couldn't teach me anymore. And it wasn't until many years later I found out he was very ill and wanted to save me the heartache of seeing him go through this illness. And I was shipped out to Lake Placid to train by my association, which was great because my dreams weren't, shattered, with my coach leaving me. And it was just too much. And within a period of about 4 months, I literally stopped talking. I gained about 50 pounds in water retention, and I lost all my hair. I went completely bald at 16. And when I came back to Ottawa, we went from doctor to doctor, and I was tested for everything. And it wasn't until I finally got into that last specialist that I was diagnosed with depression and having a nervous breakdown.
And then
so many of us remember you from '88. The physical manifestation of what looked like happiness. How were you feeling during those Olympics?
Well, I want to share with you really quickly. Before the Olympics, I had avoided media quite a bit because the stigma of mental health was in its highest in the 80s, and it seemed like everything that was written about me was about my depression. And I did an interview before the Olympics, which I thought went really well. And it turned out to be a picture of me on the front page of the paper with a new puppy we had just bought. And in big black headlines, it said, "Manly dogged by inconsistency will never win a medal." And that was a week before Calgary. And I wasn't going to go to Calgary. It took one article to bring me back 4 years to where I was in my depression and my therapy and everything I went through. And I had this way of turning my depression into, I can say this because we're all adults, but I got pissed off and I wanted to prove people wrong. And I ended up in Calgary, and I got very, very sick in Calgary, and I had a day off between the short and the long program. And they were actually considering pulling me out because I was running a very high fever. I had pneumonia, I blew an eardrum on the flight out. It was a mess. It was a hot mess. And I remember begging them to allow me to have that day off and then make the decision if I was pulling out. But I was sitting in third place. And when I went to the rink the next day, every girl's dream happened. The entire Olympic hockey team walked in. And when I mean they walked in, they walked right into my practice. They sat in the bench. And I remember going over to my coach, skating over to him, and he was like scratching his head. And I went, "What?" And he goes, "Can we concentrate?" And I said, in any other day, a whole hockey team watching me would be like, woohoo, But I was so sick. And to make a very long story short, as I came off the ice, the team left. And as I came around the corridor, we were about to have the meeting to pull me out of the games because I was so sick. And the only person in the hallway walking towards me was a hockey coach. And I didn't know him from Adam. And I will share with you, it was Dave King. And Dave King walked up to me, and I put my hand out, and I said, "Hi, I'm Elizabeth Manley." And he laughed, and he goes, "I know who you are." And I said, "Thank you for coming to my Olympic practice, but I really have to ask you, why?" And in my mind, I was thinking, because Katarina Witt wasn't even on the ice. And he looked at me, and he says, "I gotta go, the team is on the bus, but I just want to tell you, we play Russia tonight." And they weren't practicing well, and they were right next door at the corral. He said, "So I pulled the team off, and I made them come watch a champion." Now, I literally did this. As I was so shocked at hearing this incredible compliment at such a prominent moment of my life, I bent over. He thanked me, wished me luck, thanked me for inspiring his team. And I bent over, and all of a sudden this garbage pail came underneath me, and I looked up, and it was my coach. He thought I was being sick after the practice. And my coach said he had never seen this look on my face in all the years he coached me. And I said to him, "Call the meeting off." And he said, "What do you mean call the meeting off?" And I said, "I'm skating tomorrow." And the message I have about that is words matter. In the world of mental health, words matter. I can't tell you that if I hadn't run into Dave King, a hockey coach, at that moment, that I would be sitting here today with you.
Yeah. Liz, it seems like, listening to your stories, that there was a lot of, there was a little bit of an emotional roller coaster. That life was a few steps forward and happiness followed by someone with unkind words, and then you would retreat. What's life like today?
I don't want to say that we don't get better, but when you suffer from depression and you've gone through, a lot of situations like I have, you learn to live with it, and you learn to turn positives into negative. And my passion to work with mental health has been 100% since the day I stood on that podium in Calgary. It was my mission in life to reach out to people, to help people, to make them understand it's okay, you're not alone. And I want to be the Dave King to everybody. I want to be that person. And I found myself finally being able to speak about it, and I feel like I'm on the heels of Margaret Trudeau. We go behind each other in all our talks, and I'm so excited to actually like be in the same room as you this time. And, but I recently, in the last couple of years, I actually went to a life coach myself because I found myself, it's okay to reach out for help. It really is, and I want people to understand that. And I did that, and it was life-changing. And so I am so proud to be sitting here today to tell you I am now a certified life executive coach.
Really? Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. And I just want to keep spreading the message, and I just want to work with people and have them understand that it's okay and believe in themselves, and not to get stuck in that rut of life and just break through, because I did that.
Do those sorts of relationships, by helping other people, does that reinforce all the good stuff in you as well?
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the biggest questions I get is, would I ever turn the clocks back?
Yeah.
You know, when my mother was alive, she used to say, oh my God, you know, everything that went through, I don't know if I should have put you in skating, stuff like that. But I can sit here today and say I would not change a day, because suffering from depression and everything I've been through, and working with the incredible people, even with the Royal and things like this, it's made me the person I am today, and it's given me this pathway and this roadway of what I can give back to the community. And I'm not just, I really tend to say this a lot, but I'm not just some Olympic athlete trying to do good. I've been there, and I get it, and I understand it.
Well, Liz, I've got to say, I've known you since I was this tall, and yes. You've always been this tall.
I never grew. I just went the other way.
But I remember as a young boy, you filling me with so much pride. Pride of to be Canadian and to see this incredible woman doing incredible things. And it's only with all of this time that I've heard more of your story. All of those things that you accomplished, they are even more incredible because of the adversity that you faced, and what you've done since then should fill everyone in this room with even more pride. You are a hero to so many, and I'm so proud to be on this stage with you tonight. Congratulations on all your success. Congratulations on your new accreditation. Appreciate you. And now it's over to Megan. So good to see you.